did get down to 550. But then pandemic and everything happened.
If she continues on that path, she's going to eat herself to death.
She's getting bad food from somewhere. She's killing herself and she's having help doing it.
Why did your mom buy a burial plot for Tammy?
Well, actually, she bought Tammy 2 plots because she only need 2 plots.
Shut up. You're gonna die at a young age. Okay, I'll be the first one to admit I have a problem.
Tammy is pretty much on her last leg.
Tammy's family is becoming increasingly fearful and frustrated with Tammy's inaction as her weight spirals out of control.
I don't want to bury my sister, but it's to the point where it might come down to that. I'm sorry.
When we left Tammy in season 1, she was within 10 pounds of her goal of getting bariatric surgery.
I proved myself that I could do it, so that's a big achievement.
But in season 2, we discovered that she has fallen off her diet plan and regained the weight, but we're unsure just how far back she's fallen.
I have no clue what Tammy weighs right now.
Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the factors that prevent Tammy from making a change. When I think about Tammy and her attempts to lose weight and change her behavior, what really stands out to me is the way she deals with stress and anxiety.
She got her finger stuck in her...
Or more appropriately, doesn't deal with it. Specifically, we're going to be talking about her coping style or defense mechanisms and how it is they impair her ability to change. Now, these are not the only reasons that she might have trouble changing. Change in general is very complicated, but of course, it's more so complicated in Tammy's scenario because she's in such an extreme circumstance. But we're just going to be taking a look at this one thing. It's a YouTube video, casual. Yeah. Before we do that, a message from our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Built Bar. This is honestly the best tasting protein bar I've ever had, and I'm not boosting at all or anything. It is genuinely the best tasting protein bar I've ever had. If this was a few years ago, I would not be able to keep these in my home. That's my review because they're literally that good. It comes in 18 flavors and they're always making more experimental flavors. I know because I secretly bought some more than the ones that they sent me and they have this new one. They're honestly all good. Like literally, they're all good. They have such a, I'm actually genuinely impressed by the wide range of textures and flavors that they had. I was really shocked. They were seriously so good and I was really, really impressed. I actually Googled them a lot after tasting the bars. I was like, how did you guys make these so good? Thank you again to Built Bar for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description box and use code Kiana10 for 10% off your order.
I was deeply depressed growing up. When I was little, like, the only thing that made me feel better was to eat.
We know Tammy probably had to deal with a lot growing up, and for proof of this, we need to look no further than Darlene, Amy and Tammy's mom.
If we were sad and we needed a hug growing up, it was always toughen up.
Darlene isn't on the show much, but when she does pop in, let's just say she's not the most supportive mom ever.
We're doing the bariatric surgery.
I don't think you make it. I think you'll chicken out.
We also briefly hear that while the sisters were growing up, she could be a little harsh at times.
I'm not saying our mom didn't care. I'm just saying she didn't know how to show it. We got told we were stupid, we were lazy,
Ugly, fat.
Who all was saying this to you?
I don't
Our
understand.
mother.
Darlene was also known to be a little cold. In season 1, when Amy was getting married, Darlene didn't really want any part of it, even though it was clearly making Amy visibly upset.
Do you think you could go wedding dress shopping with me?
No. Who you gonna get to sew you away? I mean, take you down the aisle.
You.
Nah, I don't think so.
On top of this, we also know Tammy was bullied as a kid quite a bit. And, you know, she's expressed a bunch of feelings about feeling like an outsider. And we also know she hasn't left the house for several years prior to being on a TLC show. This is where coping styles or defense mechanisms come into play. We all have different ways of handling stress or handling our issues, but sometimes the way we deal with them can actually make them a lot worse. And this is incredibly true in Tammy's case. Coping styles or defense mechanisms refer to the thoughts and actions people use to deal with stressful situations or difficult demands. There are also good and bad coping styles and defense mechanisms. A good coping style helps us deal with the problem or improves our emotional skill set in order to be able to deal with the problem better in the future if the problem is unresolvable. Bad or unhealthy or maladaptive coping styles, on the other hand, only reduce the symptoms of the stress rather than dealing with the stress or our response to the stress itself. Therefore, they perpetuate and sometimes even strengthen the problem or the stress. For me, when I watch a show, that is the first thing that stood out to me. Up until this point, we are not sure, and Tammy is not sure, how much weight she has regained since the last season. And when she's finally forced to step on a scale, we're introduced to Tammy's main coping style.
I am terrified to get on the scale because I'm not sure how much weight I've gained.
Avoidance. Avoidance coping involves efforts oriented toward denying, minimizing, or otherwise avoiding dealing directly with stressors and problems.
I'm afraid to get on it
Why?
because I don't know if I put it on or I've lost.
Tammy really has no desire to know where her weight is at or how much weight she's gained.
I don't want to.
Okay, but at the same token, you gotta find out where you're at.
Her way of dealing with the problem is avoiding it altogether and hoping that it just goes away and doesn't get worse.
Do you want to see what this weight is?
If I have to.
Yeah.
Now, avoidance is actually a very common strategy that we all use to alleviate our stress. I avoided filming this video for as long as possible because it stresses me out to be on camera. Procrastination is a big form of avoidance. So Tammy is not the only one alone on this. Where it gets dangerous and unhealthy is the magnitude of the problem that you're avoiding and how frequently you're leaning on this strategy.
What do you want to eat, Tammy? Tammy.
In Tammy's case, it's kind of her go-to. It's all the other strategies that we're going to talk about today revolve around or could be classified as avoidant. But without confronting the real issue, without thinking about it, the problem just gets worse and worse and worse. And it's partially mechanisms like these that allow these things to get to this proportion in the first place. When Tammy steps on the scale, we finally learn that she has gained 50 pounds in just 4 months.
That's up. That can't be right.
Tammy's gained nearly all the weight back that she had gotten off.
She has gained every pound back.
How Tammy reacts to this demonstrates avoidance.
I've fallen off the wagon, but gotta try harder. Get back on track.
Now, Tammy has just gained an alarming 50 pounds in 4 months, but she's treating it like it's a little slip up, like it's no big deal. And in most instances, this is a pretty healthy response. You acknowledge your situation and you move on and resolve to do better. But in Tammy's situation, it's another form of avoiding the problem and not allowing herself to feel the magnitude or the gravity of the situation.
I know I'm a little ashamed of myself falling off the wagon.
I mean, I am too, but it just happens. Gotta get back on it. Plain and simple.
She seems to be kind of just not taking things seriously and kind of just brushing off any bad feelings that might come from what has just happened. I mean, the proper response would be to be totally devastated. So the fact that she isn't allowing herself to feel that way is very revealing in terms of her ability to deal with the stress or the shame that would come from that. However, as you may have already guessed, a problem that is affecting every facet or every part of your life is not easily avoided. She's at risk of losing her ability to walk. She might be bedbound. Things are really changing for her, and if she wants to keep avoiding the problem mentally, she's gonna have to do some serious mental gymnastics in order to be able to do so. And it gets to the point that reality itself is distorted in service of the goal of staying unaware of the problem. And in Tammy's case, I mean, I'm just speculating, but it seems like it's at the point where she's unable to fully grasp how serious the problem is. And I think this is really obvious when she goes to the dentist and tells us her newfound motivation for wanting to lose weight.
Not only am I trying to lose weight and make my body look better, I'm trying to improve this. Just fix it all. I have to look my best, or try to.
If Tammy is not willing to change and the problem is not going away, Tammy's understanding of this situation must change in order to now cope with the problem. An interesting example of how this is seen is shown in Tammy's relationship with Amy. Amy and Tammy are supposed to be best friends and sisters.
Bottom of the... You're a mess!
Amy does everything for Tammy and clearly demonstrates throughout the show how much she loves her.
Like when we were kids, I put my food on her plate. Did that make her fat? Like, did I make my sister fat?
But Tammy seems to have doubts about her sister's intentions and feelings toward her.
As much as Amy and I fight, she does still care about me. Occasionally she'll say something like that. That's the sweet side of Amy.
Projection, seeing your own unwanted feelings and traits in other people.
I'm not jealous. I have no reason to be. Y'all see I'm jealous of Amy? Why? Because she's got a man, because she lives out of the house. That doesn't mean she's happy. She's always bored. She's always watching Netflix. I mean, what kind of life is that? She's not technically happy.
Tammy, on multiple occasions throughout the show, has made it clear that she doesn't always feel that Amy has her best interests at heart. I even noticed in doing my research for this video that she went as far as to like mean posts about Amy on her YouTube channel.
I love the attention. When y'all tell me I'm better than Amy, oh my God, that just that melts my heart. I am better than Amy.
It's understandable that Tammy might have some irrational but negative feelings toward her sister. They are best friends or sisters, they grew up together, and now Tammy is watching Amy move on and do a whole bunch of things that she might never get to do. And it takes a lot of emotional maturity to reconcile the feelings of being jealous and angry at your sister who you love, also trying to avoid the fact that you have this like big addiction problem. So here we are again. Tammy has these uncomfortable feelings and they get shoved away and bottled up, and they don't just go away. Instead, they resurface through different ways like projection. And one of the most obvious examples of this is in relation to food.
I think Amy is overdoing it when she eats. Because you know you ain't been eating right because of the baby. And she wants to use that as a crutch. No more sour gummies. Shouldn't have been eating those in the first place. I know. She still should not be eating as much as she is. You're eating too much. It could possibly kill her at the end. So she needs to be more careful. This bitch went to the ER for Chinese food.
Tammy does not miss a beat when it comes to jumping all over Amy for not eating right in her eyes.
All I said was that I do have cravings.
Amy gets upset because she feels like we're attacking her. We're really not. We're just trying to get her to open her eyes and see that the things she's doing isn't the right choices. I hope Amy takes this as a sign that she needs to start making changes.
Now, to anyone watching, this obviously comes off as extremely hypocritical, but it makes a lot of sense actually when you look at it through the lens of projection. She probably doesn't even realize how hypocritical it comes off, being that this defense mechanism is subconscious.
You need to learn to say no to yourself for eating all them grapes and tomatoes.
I know how not to overeat, Tammy.
This demonstrates again how avoiding the problem doesn't get rid of it. It just pops up in new and creative ways. And in Tammy's case, it's now affecting her relationship with her sister. Meanwhile, in the 3 weeks since her first weigh-in, Tammy goes for her next checkup, and it's discovered that she's gained an additional 50 pounds.
I didn't even think that was humanly possible.
Here we can start to see one of the worst defense mechanisms at work: denial. Denial is a subconscious mechanism that helps us cope with stressors by not acknowledging their reality. Tammy is now around 100 pounds heavier than she was at the end of season 1. I don't need to tell you that to be gaining weight at this rate, she's eating a lot of food.
You know, gaining 50 pounds in 30 days, you almost have to exert yourself. Tammy's been doing nothing but eating.
At the same time, Tammy, however, seems to have very little concept of how much it is she's actually consuming.
So what do you think you're struggling with as far as your diet right now?
Just the portions.
I was thinking about doing a meal delivery service.
We ordered the meals, she ate them all at once.
Yeah, she went through 32 meals in 2 days. Oh, my Lord.
32 in 2 days? Come on now.
I guess technically the portions are the problem, but obviously there's more to it than that. And the siblings throughout the show can even be heard saying things like, I don't think Tammy realizes how much she's eating and when she's eating. So here she's either blatantly lying or her awareness of the enormous quantities that she's eating is distorted. Or even a little bit of both. Now, she may just be lying, but there's plenty of times where she seems like she genuinely is being honest and is unaware of how much that she's eating. We really can't discount the power of denial. It's one of the most common defense mechanisms used in addiction, actually.
Come on, talk to me.
I tried. I don't know what it is. I haven't been eating out. I only had one time that I can remember.
At some point, the avoidance of the problem gets so bad that you mentally refuse to acknowledge it at all. Denial is similar to and an extreme form of avoidance, but it happens subconsciously, meaning that if Tammy is doing it, she's not doing it on purpose. It's happening out of her control. And what makes it more extreme than avoidance is the extent to which it kind of distorts the truth and bends reality. And this isn't the only example of denial. We can also see it throughout how little awareness she has over the amount that others assist her in her day-to-day life.
Tammy probably is in denial of how much she does need people.
I don't think I can.
She just don't believe how much you actually do for her until she has to do it for herself.
But y'all act like I don't take care of myself. Only thing Amy does for me is my laundry. Can I get some bigger, please? Sometimes Michael takes out my trash and she cooks for me or goes to the store. That's it.
You're gonna have to really buckle down.
Quit talking to me like I'm a kid. I know what I gotta do.
So what's the big issue with this? First, Tammy's awareness of the problem is being reduced dramatically. Each time Tammy denies reality to soothe her anxiety, she also takes another step away from reality.
I can become a supermodel. America's Next Top Model.
America's Next Top Horror Show.
Bitch.
The less aware she is of her situation, the less she's able to truly grasp how much danger she's actually in. This is the reality distortion effect of denial that I keep talking about. This can be part of the reason she's not as alarmed as she should be. She's in very grave danger, and it's like she doesn't totally understand that. She does sometimes, obviously. She's not so in denial that she's like, yeah, I'm healthy, like some other people that we know. But what is very, very obvious to everyone in Tammy's family is becoming less and less obvious to Tammy herself, thus driving her deeper into her problem.
Tammy says if she does eat a piece of candy, it's just one piece. Your trash can says otherwise, bitch.
Tammy isn't in full denial about her food addiction, but that doesn't mean she's taking responsibility either. When asked why Tammy has gained even more weight on her weight loss journey, she displays one of the most common coping mechanisms: deflection or blame shifting.
That means you gained 50 pounds since you went to Dr. Proctor's?
You bought it, so shut up.
I did not buy you no junk food.
Okay, but you ain't been strict either, so...
Deflection, passing the blame to someone else in order to draw attention away from yourself.
When you don't feel like doing something, you don't do it. Why is it okay for me not to do nothing, but you can't? I thought Amy and Michael were gonna be more help to me. Chris hasn't been checking in on me as much. Yeah, I know I don't make the greatest decisions on food, but neither do you, and you think it's okay just because you had the surgery.
Deflection is definitely a favorite of Tammy's, and one of the things that seems to make people the most angry about her. Whenever she's directly confronted, her go-to move is to push the blame off onto someone else to take the attention off of her.
We all need to change our eating habits. Well, practice what you preach then, bitch. I have been, bitch. Whatever.
I assume that this is because if she wants to keep avoiding the problem in moments of direct confrontation, well, she really only has a few choices left.
I keep asking to leave the house and go out and nobody will take me anywhere.
You cannot blame that shit on me.
Some of it, yes, I can.
Now, it's very obvious that when someone blame shifts or deflects, they're trying to take the other person's attention off of them. But what is not as obvious is that they're also taking their own attention off of themselves. Its main goal is to direct Tammy's own attention, I think, away from her own actions. While at the same time, she kind of gets to soothe herself and tell herself that she's not that bad in comparison to everyone around her. The thing is, these things seem so small, but in reality, if Tammy were to step up and take responsibility for this, if she were not to shift blame, then it would have the effect of making her more aware, not less. And it would genuinely open the door to a lot of pain and shame and guilt and thinking about her situation that she just doesn't want to do right now. When things get too much, Tammy chooses to detach emotionally from the situation entirely. Emotional detachment refers to a person's choice or inability to engage with their feelings or others.
Sometimes you are.
This is why I shut down and stop talking. To keep from fighting more, I shut down. I block it out.
What's something you're going to do for yourself going forward? What do you plan to do for the rest of your life? Keep all this stuff in you? Eat at it?
At the most basic level, Tammy's avoidance behavior seems to go all the way down to the emotions she allows herself to experience.
It is what it is.
Throughout the show, she rarely breaks down or gets emotional at all, even though she gets a lot of very, very intense news frequently.
I'm really worried about you because your chances of dying in the next 5 years are about 80% if nothing happens.
I feel very sad for her, you know, because she is in this hard situation and she has a really bad way of dealing with it from start to finish. And there are so many other factors at play here. It's not just that either. I hope no one thinks that I'm saying like, oh yeah, defense mechanism, she fixed that and she's good to go. Like, there's a lot of things. I still think that she can change if she really wants to. And if she gets the appropriate help, I think that's going to be a big, big factor for her. What it shows, she finds her feelings really overwhelming and she just doesn't have a great way of dealing with it. And she's trying to save herself from more pain is what that seems like. You know, she's blocking it out, as she says.
Tammy clearly shuts down, and mostly that's because this is too much.
And that's what all really bad coping mechanisms or defense mechanisms come down to. They put this shield between us and the problem because in the moment it feels like we can't deal with it, which points to what seems to be a bigger issue with Tammy. She just doesn't seem to have much hope that she can change, and so she's doing her best to manage how she feels in these scenarios. In the end, Tammy gains an additional 20 pounds.
21 pounds higher than what we were last time, correct?
Yeah.
However, we still might consider her to have made some progress.
Because I know I should sit there and eat it all, but I don't know how to stop.
This is a significant moment because it's the first time that she's opened up at all on the show. And every other session, she wouldn't engage. She would give next to no answer about why she wanted to change or why she was there or why she'd gained weight. She wasn't engaging with the problem on any level. She was doing the least she possibly could to think about it.
I guess this is the first time I've actually come out and admitted that I had a problem and I don't know how to fix it myself.
After watching this so many times, I think that may have been the most that she actually opened up about her problem on the show. Every other time, she just glossed over it and minimized it as much as she possibly could. This time is different. She opens up, she accepts blame, she cries a little bit, she thinks it through. It is the most self-aware she's been throughout probably the whole series. And this might actually be considered a coping style in of itself. Acceptance. To face reality even if it does not fit one's expectations or desires, and the willingness to deal with this reality nevertheless. Acceptance is actually considered to be one of the healthiest coping mechanisms. Healthy coping mechanisms either improve our ability to deal with the problem by building resilience and emotional skills, or actively reduce the problem itself. By facing the pain in the short term, Tammy would begin to be able to start taking the much needed steps toward her long-term health.
Hope you guys enjoyed this video. My outro mysteriously disappeared. Look out for a video on Chris versus Tammy coming up very soon. I know because I just filmed it right now. So I'll see you in the next one.
Live with me.